welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Yes, another double feature. Had a coffee with Kilroy in the morning, and now we're having an unboxing, actually a re-unboxing of Oath, Chronicles of Empire and Exile. This definitely fits kind of in the fantasy vein of things. Is it a war game? Well, that's a good question. Actually won for the Charles S. Roberts Awards, as Oath was nominated for Best Sci-Fi Fantasy Wargame, and some people have kind of debated whether that was, a proper nomination or not. Now, the current rules for the Charles S. Roberts are it's a public nomination, so this was nominated by a group of your peers and maybe you. And now there's the second round is going on now, which there's only a few days left in that voting. It will close at the end of this. Actually, probably by the time this airs, I think it'll be closed. Actually, so or closing. So is this a war game? Well, I mean, it definitely has conflict in it. So if we're looking at the Charles S. Roberts as a conflict simulation award, there is conflict in this. It's not the core feature of this game. It's one of many other things that you can do in the game. This is more politics, resource management, secret role or asymmetrical agenda. That might be a better way to say it. But there is conflict, and there's actually special dice in here for that combat. So anyway, I thought I would, I picked this up, got this through Noble Knight, which this was a steal almost. I mean, this was a great bargain given that what I got it for, and it actually has the deluxe components that came extra. You had to buy that extra when this, I think, was kickstarted. This is from the same designer, Cole Worley, as Root, which is an asymmetrical fantasy. Woodland Animals, is that fantasy? Yeah, let's call that fantasy. War game, and I do believe Root it falls squarely within a war game. Or if you want to go broader with conflict simulation, then I think that really fits in there. That there's a lot of that going on in Root. This one's a little bit further removed than Root, but it does have the same game designer, Cole Worley. So let's get in this box and see what's in here. I've already unboxed it and checked it all out. Whenever I buy something kind of used from anywhere, I do my own inventory. And so I went through and did everything. The only thing that's missing is I think the original components, like for the coins, and there's books in here. I'll show you that. But that I have, this one came with the deluxe components, which you had to buy separately. So the original components were like wooden or cardboard counters, and they're not in here. So I'm missing that, but I got the better stuff. So here you go. Here's Oath, big box. Huge box there, but it actually has some designs and art inside it as well. If you're a grognard watching my channel, which I know a lot of you are, and really don't go into the fantasy sci-fi or the stuff that's really wargaming stuff, then this might not be your cup of tea. This is again maybe argued war game adjacent more than any kind of conflict game. But again, there is conflict in this, and this is really a lot more Euro type mechanics that are going on here. There is a kind of a setup of how this game is played. Here's the playbook where you read this first, and then you have the actual Chronicles of Empire and Exile. This is, I wonder if this is a kind of a reduced version of what you need to do. There's the setup, there's the key components, victory, sequence of play, major actions. This is kind of a simplified of how you play the game. which is 12 pages and has an index. This one is kind of walks you through it a little bit more. This is what's in the box, learning oath, and how you teach it. And they have a system set up where you open up certain cards. And I think the original owner, I don't know how many owners there have been to this, but the original owner put the cards back in the right order so I could recreate that and follow the teach, the setup for the first game and do the teach in here. I believe it's set up right. And this came with sleeves too. I don't think I don't know if that comes with the base game, but everything was sleeved, which is a nice bonus too. So as I said, paid less than half of what the normal price of this is, and got all the upgrade components. So I can't resist a deal. Plus, I mean, I don't have Root. Played Root, don't have it, but watched a lot about it, read a lot about it, and understand. Was very fascinated with the asymmetrical play of it. So this one kind of interests me as well because this was a different take on kind of fantasy combat or fantasy conflict simulation. Again, this is probably more political, and it's also kind of a legacy game. Which what's a legacy game? In the Euro hobby game world, legacy games are games that you continue on. That each game you play affects the next game. There's kind of something that lasts or a legacy holdover that will affect the next game. Some games go as far as you mark on the board or tear up cards and put new cards in or put stickers on stuff or open up boxes and have new components. This one doesn't go that far as much as when you play a game, then the board state at the end of that game will determine how you play the next game. Everybody's kind of going against this chancellor dude here, who kind of controls the game. That's the ruler of the kingdom, so to speak, and you are just subjects of the kingdom, trying to kind of overthrow the chancellor, so whoever wins the game becomes the chancellor in the next game. So again, it's what the board state kind of gets preserved as well. So it's got a little bit of a legacy feature in there. So you can, in the war game parlance, it's campaign game. Where you would play a campaign through several battles. This one you can play several games of this, full games, and then what happens in one game will carry over into the next game. So you got the Chancellor, you have Citizens, you have Exiles. The Exiles so everybody starts off as one Chancellor or everybody else is the Exiles. And the Exiles are trying to take out the Chancellor, but the Chancellor can bring them over to their side and make them a citizen. So there's some politics going on here, and everybody's going for certain goals. There's this Oathkeeper title of what you're trying to win the game with that title, but the Exiles can become the Oathkeeper as well and become like the usurper. Again, it's somewhat complex, especially for a Euro game. It's got a lot of complexities. For a war gamer, not that complex, although the concepts are a little bit different. They're not your typical war game concepts. They're very Euro type concepts. You're going to have actions that you do during a phase. This talks about some of the actions. There's a little bit of a 4X in here. You're going to be expanding through the empire and discovering new lands and trying to take over those lands. And those will give you resources, or you'll get allies or people that'll help you out. And again, there definitely is a full rich theme to all this. And here's a walkthrough as the Chancellor, what some of those rules are. And again, it's asymmetrical. The Chancellor has different goals of what it's trying to accomplish versus the Exiles. The Exiles also have a special way of winning, which are done like, I think it's called visions, where they pull these visions out, and that might be a special way to win or a special win condition that the Exiles can use. So there's a lot going on in this game. This is not a simple teach. This is not a simple learn. This is not, a simple game. Not because the actions are complex. The general gameplay is relatively straightforward, especially for a Eurogamer. But the how you play it, what you're trying to do, and trying to learn your special roles. Much like Root, when teaching Root, you had to like teach all four roles, or whatever roles that are playing, because they're all different. They all have different things to do. Here, there's a different way to play for the Exile versus the than the Chancellor, and what they're trying to do, and versus a citizen. Because Chancellor can convert someone can offer an Exile citizenship. And now there's a more kind of a symbiotic relationship, but not quite. I mean, it gets a little different. Here's the winning as offering citizenship, winning as a citizen. So as I said, a lot going on in this game. So there's the kind of the walkthrough basic of the game, and then if you just want the boiled down rules are in here. So the boiled down rules are 12 pages, but you want the full explanation. There are 32 on that. You get some reference cards here. Here's a site reference. There's some iconography that you need to pick up. Campaign summary. The Oath card reference tells you how the cards work, which are mainly, either the people, I can't remember what they're called, or the lands in there. So you get two of these, so you can pass those around the board. This right here is this is a summary of play. Valvo, the author of Citizens, clean up the map. Adds this is kind of, I think this might be how you set up for this is how you store at the end of a game. So you have that world box. This is how you kind of save the game for the next play, in that regard. And here is some flow charts, some paths there. This is for the Clockwork Prince's Mine. The Clockwork Prince is a solo variant in this game. So this has a built-in solo play, where you flip the Chancellor board over. Here's the Chancellor board here. You flip it over, and you've got the Clockwork Prince. So you've got a solo AI that's in the game. That was something that was kind of appealing as well. Here's the Clockwork Prince rules of play. Kind of explains what you need to do there. Let's look in the box. So you're in every game, you're going to have a Chancellor. You're going to have at least one Chancellor. And this is the Chancellor board, where you're going to keep track of its supply, which tells what it can do. You've got the different things it can do. Its actions are like, there's the first thing you do in a phase is wake and check what's going on there. Then you have acts, like your search, muster, trade, recover, campaign, travel. You have minor actions. Then you have arrest, and then this kind of determines your actions. Tells you a little bit about what your winning conditions are. And then you have advisors. That's the thing. The citizens or dissident. Golly, can I even pronounce today? The other people of the kingdom, let's put it that way. If you have them on your side, face up their advisors, and you're limited by how many advisors you can have. But if they're out on a location, then they help modify that location. There's the Clockwork Prince, and there's a special game board for that. And then you're either going to be a citizen, either going to be an exile. You're going to start the game as an exile. And so there's your wake mode, what you do, your actions, and then rest. And then this is a revealed vision. Again, that's a special way the exile can win, but if they have a revealed vision, that goes there. Their supply, their place for advisors here. And but if they're offered citizenship, then they become a citizen. So they have a purple board. So they lose all their army, so to speak, and they're part of the kingdom now. So they all have purple. They're purple, and they kind of go along with whatever the Chancellor is doing. As far as moving units around, all the purple units. So they kind of lose a little bit of control over that. They don't have their own unique armies anymore that they can muster, because they become citizens. Again, sounds a little bit complex. It can be a little complex figuring out how that all works together, but overall, these actions are what you do, and they're not that complex, and there's not a lot to it on a turn. So you got the different colors of the exiles. There's a red, there's a white, there's a blue, there's a gray or black, and then there's a yellow. And as you can see, they have kind of interesting art. I like this guy or gal. And so there you have it. Those are the player boards, nice thick player boards for the game. Here is the Imperial Reliquary, where there'll be artifacts, I think, or I can't remember what's put down on that. But there's some things are put down, and when they're taken off, they reveal some of these other abilities. And here's the Princely. I think this is for the solo play. This is what comes into play, I think, for the solo play there. You've got here's that world box. This is where you store and set up the legacy, like for the next game. You store stuff in here. I keep all the basic cards in here. The starting kind of location cards. And you can see this is kind of for the training or the first teach segment. They have these packets. Flip this card over and do the setup, so you can just follow along and do these setups. I believe they were set up back in the right order. I'm going to have to rely on them because I haven't had a chance to check that yet. But so here are some of the, as you can see here, these are sleeved. I don't know if that came with the base game or not, but it's kind of nice how everything was sleeved. I think I really got a deal here. And here's a location. So you've got a lot of stuff going on here, a lot of iconography that tells you what that represents certain things, like limits of what can be here, or what resources it has, or what modifiers it has, and the like. But mountains and plains, and you're going to be trying to take over these locations, and they or visiting this location if there's certain people there, and they add certain resources and the like. And it's a closed loop resource system. I'll get into that when we get the map out. So you've got, so this one keeps flipping over and tells you what to maybe it goes this way. Open packet B. Oh, I'm dropping stuff all over the place now. Now I don't know if I'll ever have it in the same order again. So this kind of has its own way to set up, and these are all the different location cards. Pretty good size location cards, and these will be on the player board or on the map or whatever you want to call it there. And I keep those in the world box just for storage. Once I play a game, I don't know where I'm going to put it because I'll have stuff in here to keep track of the next game. You've got the different factions. So these are the Exiles. There's the blue and its little armies, the white, the yellow, the red, and the black. So they all have their own unique, big piece, and they're all wood. That's kind of cool there. And then you've got, of course, the Chancellor and all its minions. It's got more because, again, if you become a citizen, then you're using the same pool of army folks, and there is the Chancellor there. This was a special thing that came separate in the game. It's your oath book, a little bit leather bound here that you can keep track of each game. So if you play a lot of games and do the legacy thing, you can kind of keep track of the annals of history in this book, and so that came separate and cost some money to it, but that came with this set. Have I said I got a decent deal? These are some markers for the game. Wood there, and they're in the different colors, and that's to mark stuff on the board, kind of administrative type stuff. You get some counters. Oh God, there's some old-fashioned counters in here that represent bandits and some other stuff, and then multipliers, like if you run out of resources, you've got that to keep track of, multiples of the resources. These are, this is the banner of Darkest Secret, the banners of People Favor. These are things that you get during the game too, and add to the, are used during the game for special purposes. These are like bookmarks for the cards, to keep track of the order of the cards. The problem is with everything sleeved, these don't fit in there anymore. So I just kind of keep a couple of them there to separate out. But you have a lot of these. So if you don't sleeve these things, these would be very nice to separate all the different kind of cards. Like here's Beast, here's Hearth, here's Arcane. There's all kinds of different types of cards, and you can keep track of them that way. There are these cards. These are like the relic cards. Again, this is that packets. They even sleeved the the thing that tells you how to set up stuff. The Grand Scepter, that's in every game. That's something that is important that you want to try to get. You can't offer citizenship unless you have this, or whoever has this can offer citizenship, something like that. These are different. Stop. Don't flip that over. So these are like different relics that you get, and these might be on location, and you're trying to try to collect these, and they have special abilities and give special resources and the like. So this is where you're kind of getting into the whole fantasy thing. These relics and stuff are there. Here's the Oath Keeper. This is how you win the game by, this is the first goal or mission of the Chancellor is the Oath Keeper. But if a Exile has it, then they become the Usurper, and it tells how they win. And then you have these different oaths that could come into play or that you could play for, that do different powers, right? And the Oath Keeper on the top, I think, is for the Chancellor, and the bottom is for the Exiles. So, there's a lot of, and this tells you what the victory at the condition is at the end. So, again, there's a lot of replayability. There's a lot of content in here that you may never ever get to, or can be kind of optional. These are some of the people, or these right here. I can't remember what these are. These are special items. I can't remember what those are called. Archive. Yeah, this is the archive, I guess. These are some of the cards, like the people that will be your advisors, or they could be on locations, and of course there's a lot of symbology there and what they do and special abilities that they have. And there's a whole host of these in the game. And you saw that beast markers. These are the beast faction, and they represent kind of different factions as well. So there's quite a bit of stuff here, and the art is all consistent. It's a little whimsical. If you don't like the art, then you might not appreciate the game. But if you like this is kind of cool because it's all kind of consistent, and I think it tracks with some of the stuff from Root as well. So there are those cards there, and again, there's a whole bunch of those in here. In fact, I can barely get them all stuck in here, and I won't flip them all over. Again, I think everything's put back in order by these packets, but I'm not entirely sure. But they actually sleeved them. They sleeved these little holders that tell you how to play the game. So these are normal cards, and then there's Vision. I think they're all in this. They're in one of these decks here. They're all kind of shoved in there. But these are just more of all the different units that can be advisors or can be out on the world, and you can deal with them. And they do all kinds of different things. So as you can see here, there's a lot of those cards. There's over 100 or maybe almost 200 of those cards. Again, they all came sleeved. And then you've got, this is the bonus pieces here, or the upgrade stuff. See, they have the coins. They're regular cardboard, and I don't have those anywhere in here. I haven't checked under here. Maybe they're under there. But I think they kept those but that's okay. I got these. This is coins. I got me some coinage. And then these are nice little books. As you can see here, this is like a resin or plastic or whatever, and nice little book here. And this is important into the game too. These are kind of the resources. The two main resources is these coins, which represent, this is a closed loop system. So whatever you start on the board, that's really going to be the currency for the game. So whenever you're taking something from one thing or building up influence with one of the factions, you'll take the coin, and then when you pay it back, you're going to be putting it back to another faction. It's kind of a closed loop economy in here, and these are another special part of the economy, or different kind of currency that do something else as well. And these factor a lot, I think, like in the victory, some of the victory conditions of the game. Here's your combat die. Well, this is your dice to see if you win. There's some special win conditions, especially for the Chancellor. And here's your combat dice. I told you there was combat in this game. These are the red are attack dice, and then the blue are defense dice. And you'll, depending on what your armies are, or makeup, or bonuses, or some of the characters that you have helping you out, that'll tell you how much dice you get there. So that is that. And then the last piece of all this is the map, which is, or the play surface, which is a neoprene mat. I'm probably going to have to go out a little bit here because the mat is relatively good size here. And so this is your play mat. Really nice play mat. It's kind of stitched on the side there. And again, this comes standard with the game. This wasn't a bonus thing. This is your play surface that comes with the game. And you basically have, 3 regions. You have the cradle, which is where the Chancellor usually starts out, and it kind of goes this way. So you got the cradle, which is like the center of the kingdom, providences, which are just at the edge of the kingdom, and then you have the hinterland, which is far out and of the kingdom. And there's movement, or how much actions, or what, or resources, or supply maybe that you have to pay to move. It costs some to move here, and it costs even more to move here. So to move out, because you're moving out further, think of it maybe as a circle, where this is the center, this is the one rim, and this is the far rim, which is the hinterland. And those locations I pointed out that are in this box here, they go out here, and they're going to be different each game. And they have different modifiers of what goes on there. And then there's going to be cards for each one of these areas, the cradle provinces, and this is the discard pile for that. Then you also have the kind of, as I said, the closed loop economy here. These are the different factions: Discord, Arcane, Order, Hearth, Beast, and Nomad. And that's where these coins go. And you'll start off with a certain number of coins, and when you take coins, you'll take from here. When you pay coins back, you'll be paying from here, but it's all close. It's all either on a card in your hand, or in this pool right here. You're also going to have your vision deck over here, or your world deck is where you're going to be drawing some of those the different characters and stuff in the game that will either be on a location or be advisors in your hand. They're actually your hand as well. I think you can have up to 3 advisors. And if you have them face up, well, then you really don't have a hand of cards anymore. But if you have like 1 face up, then you can have 2 of them in your hand. That's kind of how, I think that's generally how that works. There might be modifiers to that. But those come from this world deck, and there'll be visions in this world deck. And again, the visions really help out the exiles. It's a way for the exiles to do certain things. Here's the relic deck, and those relics might be placed out on the locations as well, and you're trying to collect those. Here's the win track here, we start here, and then when the Chancellor gets to here, they start rolling that purple die. If they roll a 6, they win the game. If they get to here, they need to roll a 5 to win the game. If they get here, they need to roll a 3. So, there's kind of a built-in timer. The games don't go super long, because at some point the Chancellor is going to get up to here, and then they're going to start rolling that dice. And if you're the exiles and don't have your vision, or you're the super, or some other way to win done, they're going to start making a win roll, and that will end the game, and they will win as the Chancellor. So it's kind of tilted a little bit in the favor of the Chancellor. However, you've got everybody else going against the Chancellor as exiles and trying to do things against them. Again, very asymmetrical in that regard. And this is not a rules explanation by any means, so do not hold me to this. And I might have botched up and butchered some of it as well. But that's what I wanted to cover today, because again, this is by now the voting might be closed, so whether you want to do it or not. This is on up for a Charlie for Sci-Fi Fantasy Wargame. The only other game that it's in my playlist, I might even put it in the description of this one, since I'm talking about the Charlies a little bit, was the why can't I remember it now? There was like 4, I think, up for the Charlies, and it was the miniatures, sci-fi space miniatures game that for some reason I'm completely drawing a blank, but I will put it in the description down below so you can look at it. Those are the 2 that I've, this one I just got, so I've read a lot about it and watched some plays, but I haven't played this yet. The other one I have played a little bit of, so that other one that we will remain nameless, right? The other nominees, I do not believe. I think one was like A Billion Stars, which is a space miniatures rule book from Osprey. I have not played that. I've looked at that a little bit, but I've not played that. And there's a fourth one, I believe, out there as well. Anyway, that's what I have for you on Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Thought this is interesting enough of a game. I really probably should get Root and try that out. But, I'm not sure if the core game of Root has a solo version or a solo mechanism. This has a built-in solo bot. So that's what kind of put me over the edge. The fact that I've been looking at this for a long time, and just trying to find a good price on it. And then for the recent Noble Night sale, man, it was already for some reason a really bottom basement price on this, and then with the sale price on top of it, man, I couldn't resist. And again, it has a solo component, so you can play this solo. A lot to set up possibly for a solo game. That's to me is a kind of a detractor for solo games. If there's a lot of setup, maybe not my bag. That's one reason why I've kind of avoided Mage Knight. Mage Knight is considered one of the best solo fantasy games ever. I mean, literally, a lot of people consider it the greatest ever. But I've looked at that for a long time, and it had a steep price as well, but it's just a lot of setup. I mean, I was like, man, I want to play a solo. If I want to play a solo game, I want to, be able to pull it out, throw it on the table, get some stuff set up, and start getting at it, right? I have to account for, getting familiar with the rules for the first time or for numerous times, because it's been a while since I probably played it. So I don't want to have to put a bunch of stuff out or have to set up a lot of stuff. So that's something that kind of pulls me away from the real big games that take a lot of setup. This one looks like it might take a lot of setup, but my God, I couldn't resist the components. I mean, this mat is nice. I mean, I got coins. Come on, coins, people. Coins. And then, got me little books too. You can put those on the shelf there. Anyway, that is what I wanted to cover today. Love to know your thoughts on this. If you're more on the wargame side, then this probably is, you're probably going, what the heck is this? And why is that even nominated? If you're a Euro gamer, then you probably know about this. This has been out for a while. This, I don't think, got the same love and attention as Root has. But it holds its own in a certain space. I mean, I think it accomplishes what it's trying to accomplish, but it's a unique accomplishment. It's very niche of what it's trying to do. Anyway, that is Oath, Chronicles of the Empire. What I have for you today on Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Love to know your thoughts on any of this. Whether it's a war game or not, or that's just crazy. Whether it should be nominated or not, that's just crazy. Whether this is a good game or not, whether you'd want to even play this game, or whether, did I pique any interest in doing this re-unboxing, or did I just, muddle it up because I didn't go into the gameplay as much as I probably could have. Anyway, that's what I have for you today on this Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. I had a full day of it, right? I've done a coffee, now I've done a re-unboxing. I'm spent. Time for me to, go take a nap. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.